Welcome to the Spy Collection. My name is Anastasios, and following our last week's episode about the TSEC KW-26, codenamed ROMULUS, today we have a very rare artifact, a component of that cryptosystem, this E-AAL board. It's a special part of our collection because it came from a former NSA cryptographer who actually worked on ROMULUS and kept this as a memorabilia item. If you didn't watch our last week's episode, KW-26 was an important cryptosystems breakthrough for NSA and the overall US government and military that protected the most sensitive classified communications in the Cold War until the 1980s. This system looked like this, and Jerry Proc has, quite likely, the most detailed article about it. Of course, we'll leave links to all of that in the video's description. On the upper part is the receiver or transmitter, and the lower unit was its power supply. This is the card reader slot, or CFD using NSA terminology, that was used to update its crypto variable daily. Notice that cutter in the middle. This was to ensure that each card can only be used once. And when that receiver is opened from the top, it looked like this. This was stripped down, obviously, but notice the first section of it. Here is a close-up of that 2-alpha-1 diagram, showing what to install where for the crypto technicians. And yes, as you can read, it was to install E-AAL boards, just like the one we have in our collection. Those were installed or uninstalled by squeezing those levers that you see here. From Jerry Proc's page, we also find this diagram of what we just saw, saying, the PCBs are the E-AAL boards, and the diagram is meant to represent 12 to 16 boards. And in his page, we also read about the E-AALs, that they provided steady, timed pulses. There were several of them on the left and right back 2/3 of the transmitter and receiver chassis. A lot of detailed information on KW-26 remains classified, so we still don't have its full details, or several photos to see how those actually looked like when installed, their history and so on. However, those metal parts here were protecting the electron tubes and also keeping them securely in place. To open it, you have to press and rotate it. It's held by this channel here. Also from Jerry Proc's page, we also learn what this MFP here meant on those boards. Note the designation MFP and the date. This means the board was moisture fungus-proofed in April 1961. MFP was a shellac-type coating which sealed just about everything. It was difficult to remove if a component had to be desoldered. MFP had to be reapplied to the cleaned area once a repair was completed. And if you recall our last week's video, it briefly mentioned those boards too.
The initial design indicated that BiMag were superior to vacuum tubes on reliability and power consumption. Though the KW-26 clock rate was relatively slow, less than 5 kHz, the vacuum tube pentodes driving the BiMag elements were approaching their design limit.
And we can put those pieces of information together with this statement of Doug Airy in Jerry Proc's KW-26 page. Doug also relates some anecdotes. The KW-26 was chock full of electron tubes. There were two 6197 tubes on each E-AAL board. A 6197 was the industrial version of the 6CL6 power pentode. There were probably 12 to 16 E-AALs in the equipment, but I cannot remember the exact quantity. Electron tubes developed intermittent shorts, and the slightest vibration would trigger the condition. Bad tubes would actually cause the equipment to alarm out, transmitter, or lose sync, receiver, and the KW-26 would need a reset. Each time the transmitter drawer was pulled out and closed for an alarm check, that was an opportunity to discover if any of the tubes had developed intermittent shorts. If you shut the drawer and the equipment alarmed out, The practice was to patch a spare KW-26, then troubleshoot the primary machine. And looking at our board, it indeed has the 6197 tubes, exactly as mentioned. And you can also see that printed here and here to remind the technicians and reduce the chances of human error. Worth noting that those two covers are from different companies and slightly different in design too. You can better see that from the inside. Do you have any more details about this rare piece of cryptologic history? If you do, then please let us know in the comments below. And who knows, maybe someday we'll have a complete KW-26 available to present to you. Until then, we'll keep on documenting as many parts of the spy world as possible in an effort to preserve this kind of secret knowledge that clearly shows us how nothing is as it seems.